Hello everyone, welcome back to Path for Cloud. So today is video number 4 where we will gonna talk about Docker volumes, right? So Docker volumes is something that where we can persist our data, right? So Docker volume is something that we want that okay, after the container is crashed, right? Still we have access to our data. Then how we can mount it, right? So we'll see how many types of volume we have, but let me summarize like what we have done in our previous video. In previous video, we have gone through with our some Docker basic command like docker run, docker ps -a -q, how you can remove the stopped container, how you can pull the image, how you can get into the container, how you can make it some changes, then how you can commit it, and then how you can push it to your Docker hub, right? So you can see on my screen that we have this Docker user 604 is the directory available, and we have pushed our my Ubuntu images, right? It was pushed. So today we will see how we can make the data persist with the help of volumes. All right. So we have some images available already, and let me see if we have. Okay, let me start this docker start, and I will give this. Okay, now let's see, it is up and running. Let me go inside in this new, and we'll say bin bash. Fine, now we are inside the container. What I will do is I will create one more directory called bind directory, right? You can see it is available now, bind directory. Fine, now I will exit it, and we will say docker ps. It is still up and running, right? If I'll do docker exec -it new bin ls, so it is showing us the bind directory. But due to some reason, right, maybe some underlying host compute is full, and it was not able to handle all those container, or maybe some other network issue, or something happens, right, and you lost your container. Fine, let's say I am manually deleting it, and you can see as of now there is only one container running, which is old one, right? So I will run the container again in the background using the same image, right? So we have created our directory, right? So it should be here, right? This time I have forgot to name it, but anyways I'll just say exec -it and 395, and I will say bin ls. But here you can see that we lost our directory. Earlier it was bind directory was there, but now there is no bind directory, right? So how we can make our data persist, right? So we need to make our data persist so that after the data crashed also we will not lose our data, correct? So let me do one thing. There are two ways to you can do it. One is the bind mount and one is the volume mount, right? Bind mount is something you can directly create some directory. Let's say I am creating a directory called container directory here, right? I have this directory created here, and I wanted to mount this directory inside the container. So what I will do is I will run one more container -it -d -name equal to persist. Fine, and I will use a method called -v where I will specify the current, like the source directory name, which I just wanted to make it mount, right? Then I will do one thing. I will create a file called new, or maybe what was the name of that, bind directory, right? So I will create it bind directory, and then we will use the our image, and here you go, right? So Now we have Docker running. Let's get inside the Docker exec -it persist and bin bash. They're inside. Now we can see we have the bind directory there, right? I will go there, nothing is there. What I will do is touch file from, or maybe I'll say file inside container.txt. I have created one file, it is there, right? Now let's exit it, and we have the Docker running. Now let's say again something happened and we lost our container. Right? There is no container running. It is gone. What will happen to our data? Do you think that it is still there because we have created one file? And if you remember that we have mounted this, so here you can see this file is still there, right? So in this way you will not lose your data. So data will be still there, right? This is the one way of persisting your data using the bind mount, right? Let me show you the new way. It is not the new way to mount it. New way, I will tell you how you can do it. Docker, I am just talking about this bind mount, okay? I will say Docker mount. I will just specify the other stuff first. So -d -name equal to persist, and then -mount. Okay, then I will specify type equal to bind mount, comma, you need to specify the source equal to root, and the file was, it was what was the file name, that container underscore directory. This is the source file. Now we need to specify the target, right? Like where we want to mount it. So I will say bind directory, fine, and I will specify my image. Let me see, it is -mount or -mount, I don't remember. Okay, I think it is double dash. Okay, there is no mount, but mount should be there. Volume is there, fine, but why it's not finding the mount? Okay, Docker run command is there, -d. Okay, anyways, we will specify our image manually, fine. So this is our content. At the end, what I'm gonna do is I will just copy this stuff and I will paste and I will hit V1. Okay, it is saying invalid size OUNT. Where is OUNT? There is some typo or something. Let's try with this. Yeah, I think it was double. Right, so now we have that is running, right? Now what I will do is Docker exec -it persist and bin ls, which one? The directory which we mounted, which is bind underscore directory, and you can see that file is still there, right? So this is the one way, and I have shown you both old way and the new way. Old way was which one? Where we specify that data with the -v. This one, right? -v, then you can specify the source name and the destination directory and the image name. and the new one is where you can use that dash mount. You can specify the type equal to bound and the source and then target and the image name. Okay, so these are the two methods. Next one is the Docker volume, right? If you list, as of now there is no Docker volume, right? So there are so many storage plugin. If I'll show you, so as of now it is using overlay 2, right, which is a kind of default plugin for Ubuntu, right? There are so many other AUFS, device mapper, overlay 2, ZFS. So it is something that Docker depends on the underlying host. It will automatically find and apply that storage driver. So this way, what we are doing is we are just creating a it will gonna use that particular driver, right? So what we will do is we will create one Docker here. Volume. So let's say how you can create Docker volume, create, and let's say volume 1. Fine. Now if I do ls, so it will showing me volume 1. But where exactly it is storing is, see, on any box, if you go to the var lib docker, right? So here you can see that there is a directory called overlay. If you go there, so it is storing all the data inside that directory var lib docker, right? You can see that images is there, container is there. I'll include all these stuff in the different video. You can see that we have created volume 1, right? Under we have the data. As of now, no data, so nothing is there. So what we will do is we'll create one more container. Let me see what is the images we have. Okay, this time we will gonna use the latest one. Docker run -v. You need to specify the volume name. Vol1 we have created, and then path inside the container. So what I will do is volume directory and then the Docker. If I not specify, it will say that okay, you need to specify because there are so many images, right? In last video we have talked about, so we need to specify the tag here. Okay, this is something that vol volume invalid mount config for type volume. So what we are missing is -v, volume name is vol1 only, right? Vol1, yeah. And then the volume directory, path inside the directory, that is also fine. And to start the container, we have put it already our image, so it should run. Okay, so it should be like this. Why? Because it should asking us a absolute path, right? So we need to specify, but it is ran and exited. So let me run it in background. Okay, now if I'll say docker ps and if I'll docker exec -it and d20 and I will go inside this, and you can see we have something called volume directory, right? There is nothing. What I will create it, file volume.txt, right? I will put some random content here, echo hello from container, and I will redirect it to this file. So we have this data is there, right? Now I will exit it and I will remove this container. Docker rm -i d20. Again, we have lost our container. So we were using the Docker volume, right? So according to this purpose, the data should be still there, right? If you remember, we were using var lib docker volume vol1 data, right? And if you remember, this file we have created, right? Where let's check the content, docker volumes vol1 and slash data and this one, hello from container, right? Now if you create a different container, right, with the same stuff, so you will have that data, right? Let me see, docker exec -it a17 and you will launch bin bash, right? If you go volume directory, you can see your data is persisted. So today we have learned two ways of to persist the data. First one is the bind mount, right, where you can directly map the local directory of your server and then you can mount it to inside the container. The second one is the docker volume, right, where we will be gonna create. So docker volume will create stuff under this. So all docker related data is going to store under var lib docker, right? If I'll exit and I'll show you again var lib docker, right, and container, let's say, and docker ps. So if you see, just look at this container IDs, right? A173, right? A173, 3950, 3950. So where it is storing all this stuff, it is storing under this var lib docker, right? So we have all data related to this docker. If you go again to docker, you can see containers, images, network, overlay 2 is the another network, plugin, Swarm cluster. We will talk about little about Swarm, volumes, right? So it will store everything under this directory, right? So far we have learned docker container, how you can launch the container, how you can push it to your particular repository, and today we have learned how you can make your data persist. So in case if your docker crashes, then how you can keep your data safe. Fine. Okay, so I hope you liked my content, and please subscribe my channel and share it with your friends, colleagues, and I'll take leave from today. We'll meet in next video. Thank you.